What's going on, everybody? We are back today with some more Farm Sim 22, where today we are going to be talking about how to seed or plant your fields. First thing you'll need to do when seeding or planting your fields is you'll actually have to get the field prepared. As you can see over here, I do have a field prepared to be planted. Although I did miss a strip in the middle there, I will not worry about it though, as we do not really need to plant this whole field. This is just a quick demonstration. If you're unsure how to prepare your fields for planting or seeding, I would suggest you go back and watch my last beginner guide video where I talked about how to prepare your fields for the best harvest possible. The first thing you'll need to do when deciding which plant or crop you would like to plant or seed is go ahead and take a look at the planting calendar here, the crop calendar. Wherever the green lines are, that's the time of the year you can plant. You can plant wheat and barley in September and October, canola in August and September, oat in March and April, as well as sunflowers. Corn and soybeans can be planted in April and May. Potatoes, sugar beet, sugarcane can be planted in March or April. Cotton can be planted in February or March. Sorghum can be planted in April or May. Grapes can be planted in March, April, or May. And olives can be planted in March, April, May, or June. I will say a quick disclaimer here that this video will only be talking about plants and crops that you can plant using the planter, which is over here, or the seeder or sowing machine, which is seen right here. I will go ahead in the store now and take a look at what planters and seeders are in the game currently. To find them, they are in the third line of the tools section. Seeders have the green thing here. You can see there's a couple of small ones and some different ones, as well as some really big ones here at the end that require some much larger tractors. As for planters, there's a red icon here, and you can see there's a couple of small ones, a medium one, and then it gets into some much larger ones. But there's still probably about the same amount that you can choose from between the two of them. Once you pick out your seeder or planter that you're going to use, you're going to need to buy seeds to fill it. You can go ahead and buy them in 3 different ways in the game currently. The big bag pallets, which is $900 for 1,000 seeds. The big bags, which is $800 for 1,000 seeds. But they are slightly harder to handle with your pallet forks or whatever you choose to pick them up with. Or you can buy a pallet of seeds, $950 for 1,050 liters. As you can see, the big bags are easily the cheapest ones here, but they are much harder to control using a pallet fork or whatever way you choose to move them around. Once you buy your seeds, you should take a look in the shop if your seeder can hold fertilizer as well. We'll go in here and take a look here. Most of the small ones cannot hold fertilizer. As you can see, there's a small bag with a plant on it here that shows that it can only hold seeds. But if you scroll through some of these, this coon right here is the very first one that can hold fertilizer. You can see by this small bag with a leaf on it. There are many different ones that can hold fertilizer, but you should always make sure before you buy that yours can hold fertilizer. For this demonstration, both of mine can hold fertilizer, but I chose to not put fertilizer in as it is not required while planting. Now that you have your seeds as well as your planter or your seeder, you will need to fill it with the seeds that you just bought. To do that, you will need to either drive your planter or seeder up right next to the bags, and you will be able to fill it, as it'll come up as a fill marker, similar to as if you were filling out of a silo. Or you can take a skid steer like I have here, and you can pick your bags up like this and hold them over top of the seeder, and they will automatically fill into the seeder. The fill point on this seeder specifically is in that top container on top of the seeder. You can see. We'll go ahead and open the container. Now that we have the container open, you can see, if we can get up there, it's get up here, that there is 2 compartments in here. A smaller compartment in the front for your seeds, and a larger compartment in here in the back where the fertilizer would go if we put fertilizer in it. We'll open the same container here. It's a little bit different of a container, but it serves the same purpose, on the planter, and hop on top of the planter here. Take a look. As you can see, although it's filled with seed, there's no seed in here. That's because this fill point is used only for fertilizer and planters. Your seeds in the planters go in the back here. These small doors do not open like they would in real life, but this is where you'll fill your seed if you fill it by hand. All your seed will go on top of these yellow things and dump into the yellow things here. Once you have your seeder or planter picked out, you will have to pick out which seed you want to put in the ground. Seeders can put wheat, barley, oat, canola, soybeans, sorghum, oilseed radish, and grass in the ground. As you can see, I cycled through that in the top left corner where I'm hitting the Y button. It says select seed. You can see which one you are selecting. And then we'll do the same thing here with the planter. You'll have to select with your planter which one you would like to put in the ground. You can go ahead and select corn, sunflowers, soybeans, sugar beet, cotton, and back to corn. As you can see, the planter has far less options to plant than the seeder does, but the planter is typically wider and can bring in a little bit more money with the stuff that it plants. Now that you're ready to seed, you can take your seeder over to the field that you want to seed or plant. To get your seed in the ground, you'll have to go ahead and unfold your seeder. Once it unfolds, you can then lower your seeder into the ground and turn it on so that it starts putting seeds in the ground. We'll start driving the seeder over this way. As you can see, it changes what the ground looks like, so it's easy to see where you've already driven. You do not need that many seeds to plant an entire field. In some things you will not some places you will not even need to actually prepare the field before you seed. But if you do that, you will not get nearly as much yield from your crops as if you did prepare the field. As you can see, we'll go ahead and shut that off. It did go ahead and change the texture on the ground once we hit the part that wasn't cultivated, and I believe that is currently a glitch where it doesn't understand or can't pick the correct texture to put on the ground. But where it's cultivated, it should look like this once you have it planted or seeded. And you can see right here that it is nice little rows in the ground. But if you use the direct drill, it's going to look more like this, although it looks like this for a long ways because I don't think that it currently can pick out which one that it wants to correctly, or which texture it needs to use correctly. But once you have all that ready, and you can start seeding. Once you finish seeding your field will grow up and you will be able to harvest it. With that being said, that is how you can seed or plant your fields as you would like to get all of those different crops. If you wanted to do some of the crops I had not mentioned in this video, stay tuned as some of my future videos will go over how to do some of the other crops. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.